Dear Mr. Hai, Deputy Director General, Agency of Foreign Trade, dear speakers, distinguished guests and colleagues. First, on behalf of BW Industrial Development, I would like to extend my best wishes to all distinguished guests for a happy and wonderful event. My presentation today will focus on how to build the resilience needed to cope with future shocks, like what we have experienced with COVID-19. Secondly, our view on the future of logistic facilities. First, let's talk about supply chain resilience. Just a quick summary of Vienna's economic backdrop. In Q3 2021, Vienna recorded the deepest GDP plunge in the history of quarterly GDP statistics from 2020, down 6.17% year-on-year. I'm sure all logistic corporations attending today's forum are familiar with our industry's bottlenecks, like skyrocketing air freight prices, port congestion, and the long delays in shipping. Even now, as the borders at many locations are opened, custom procedures and approvals are lengthy, increasing delays and costs, which is frustrating to most suppliers. Before COVID, just-in-time model makes sense. Reason being, costs are minimized by eradicating excess stock, while also preventing power-ups of finished but unsold products. However, the turbulent events of the past years have challenged the merits of cutting down inventories. As the pandemic has troubled factory and warehouse operations and disrupted global shipping, many industries have been heavily impacted. In a time of extraordinary turmoil in the global economy, just-in-time is running late. Having a look at the supply chain system, sourcing and distribution are two heavily impacted components. While sourcing means shortage of critical materials and delayed shipments, for warehousing and distribution sector, operators are having difficulties balancing stock between warehouses, especially with products being held up in ports or cross borders. Many people blame China dependency for this supply chain disruption. During the first COVID wave, a research of Logistic showed that the world's largest 1,000 companies or their suppliers own more than 12,000 facilities in China's quarantine areas. Therefore, most organizations are seeing the need for a significant shift in their supply chain strategies to improve their resistance to future disruptions like COVID-19. In a recent survey by Jebel from over 700 supply chain decision makers at OEMs with more than $500 million in revenue, 94% of surveyed companies are highly concerned about supply chain resilience. So, what kind of shift in supply chain strategy we are expecting? From our research, 4 elements of the supply chain system need to be considered. Element number 1, diversification. Organizations are now actively investing in diversifying their supplier base and manufacturing footprint in order to reduce their reliance on single sourcing. Element number 2, nearshoring. Apart from diversification, some companies want to reduce geographic dependence and shorten cycle times for finished products. Regional or local supply chains can be more expensive because they add more players and complexity to the ecosystem, but they allow for more control over inventory and move the product closer to the end customer. Element number 3, inventory and capacity buffers. Now companies may need to strike a different balance between just-in-time and just-in-case, allowing the company to have the agility to scale up or down in line with the market demand. Last, For companies without the scale to support multiple locations, strong relationships with contract manufacturers and global 3PLs is vital in diversifying production and distribution. We have just talked about what kind of supply chain shift the market is expecting. The next question is how those shifts are reflected in warehouse operation. Surprisingly, in a survey by CBRE, 78% of occupiers want to expand their logistic footprint as a result of just-in-case shift I have just talked about. So, what to consider when expanding? According to our research, 3 important questions to ask before you make a move. Where? Certainly, everybody wants to be in close proximity to market and customers. However, due to the scarcity of assets in metropolitan areas, satellite cities like Dong Nai or Long An in the south and Bacchang in the north have drawn significant attention from logistics occupiers. What? The answer is, especially for the express players, build-to-suit or pre-leasing will be more popular as it allows occupiers to operate efficiently and provide capacity for expansion without racking up massive investment in fixed assets. And how? The operational strategies that occupiers are adopting to reduce costs, increase handling capacity, and enhance efficiency are mainly focused on increasing space utilization. One of the examples could be the cross-dock design, meaning loading on one side and unloading the other side, creating more efficiency, especially suitable for FMCG retailers and express players. Other features like a Megadoor installation were getting popular to allow more in and out space. Okay, so we have going through shifting supply chain strategies and how it is translated into the evolution of warehouse operation. Now, in the next few slides, I will quickly introduce some trends of logistic facilities as we worked with multinational operators, not just in Vietnam, but also in China, Singapore, and other countries. Regarding e-commerce, for now, the pure fact is that our e-commerce penetration rate is far behind other countries in the region. The online shopping slice in total retail sales, for example, Thailand is 8% or Indonesia is 20%, while Vietnam is merely 3 to 5%. That leads to the money-burning race of e-commerce platforms like Shopee, Lazada, and Tiki to win the market without racking up massive investment in fixed assets while allocating resources mainly for promotions and expansion. The second trend would be multi-story development. Scarcity in Tier 1 cities will be pushing all developers to go for multi-stories. For example, BW is in construction of a double-story warehouse facility with ramp-up in Norchon 2 IP, Dong Nai, which will be completed by second quarter of 2022. Also, we are planning several double-story warehouse facilities in other areas that within 60 minutes travel to the CBD in both north and south. Last point is a shift towards sustainability. Unprecedented amount of pandemic and climatic-related disruptions in the past years has heightened focus on the environmental, social, and governance issues on a whole new scale. As a market-leading platform in Vietnam, BW understands the importance of an ESG strategy and has instituted a variety of short and long-term goals, such as we are launching rooftop solar projects in our stabilized assets. We are planning our first LEED certified green building project. We undertook environmental due diligence for all of our new projects, whether it is greenfield or brownfield. And last, we strongly committed to support the Vietnam community, especially in the fight against COVID-19. For example, recently we converted 80,000 square meter ready-built warehouse in the May Phu Pho Industrial Park into COVID-19 field treatment center. Giving back to our community has been deeply imprinted in our DNA. Here below, I would like to take 1 minute to introduce who is BW. We are Vietnam's largest industrial and new economy real estate platform developer. Up to now, BW has total 33 projects in 9 key industrial provinces, with total 749 hectare land secured across Vietnam. We have completed 1.5 million square meters industrial facilities, and another 3.7 million square meter premises is under planning or in construction. Over 100 tenants, whether they come from local or from abroad, has chosen us and leased their manufacturing or logistics spaces from us. BW has achieved over 90% occupancy on our stabilized assets. And thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.